Alright, I welcome you back to my channel. Sijo Ade is my name, sequel to our discussion on how to get to the position of power. I am going to discuss another very important means and another very important channel where people can get to the position of power. In our previous discussions, I have made mention of like 3 different ways so far. I mentioned negotiation. I also mentioned promotion and reward. That is, people can be promoted to the position of power. People can be rewarded with the position of power. And I gave examples. All right. And I also discussed trading and productivity. That is, when people trade their way into the position of power, people can also be so highly productive. And then the next thing they could do is that they should just find themselves in the place of power. Another interesting part today that I want to discuss is what I call divine orchestration. All right, God can orchestrate your way into the position of power. We saw that in Joseph, we saw that in Saul. Now, Saul was not interested in power. In fact, Saul did not, I doubt if Saul even had a single dream about leading the nation of Israel. All right. But when the Israelites protested that they needed a king, God had to look for a way to give them a king. So what now happened to Saul was that his father's donkeys got lost. And his father gave him a task and said, go and look for these donkeys for me. And as he stepped out looking for these donkeys, he was moving from one mountain to another, from one bush to another, and from one city to another. The journey took him 3 days, and where he eventually landed was where he met Prophet Saul. In fact, one of his servants suggested, he said, let's go and look for a seer, that is a prophet, so that he can tell us where our donkeys are. And interestingly, they were led to Samuel. All right. But before they met with Samuel, God had already told Samuel and said, okay, that is the day before they came, God already told Samuel the prophet that some people are coming to you. They are looking for donkeys, but actually they are not looking for donkeys. All right. I have ordained them. I have orchestrated their steps so that you can anoint Saul as the king of Israel. So what actually happened was not that the donkey didn't, the scope or the objective of the journey looks like they were looking for donkey, but it was God that was using that avenue to orchestrate the steps of Saul into power. And before you knew it, Saul became the first king in Israel. That was a divinely orchestrated step, divine orchestration. They were not dreaming it, they were not planning for it, but God has destined someone to get into the position of power. Same thing with Joseph. Yes, Joseph had a dream that he will become a renowned person, he will become a savior to his generation, but he didn't know how it will happen. All right, just like Mary said, how shall these things be? Sometimes we don't know how the things that God has told us will be, but they can happen through what I call divine orchestration. Joseph also was orchestrated by the wickedness of his brothers, elder brothers, and that was how he was orchestrated from one point to another until he found himself on the throne. In fact, prison was part of the orchestration. So sometimes when we go through difficulties, when we go through difficult times, we don't know what is behind the scene. We don't know behind the scene what God is planning. It's looking rough to us now, but actually God is capable of translating what we are going through into our greatest advantage. So don't forget this, that God can orchestrate one's way to power. You may not plan it, you may not calculate it, but somehow you are divinely led and divinely orchestrated into the position of power. Until I come your way next time to see another means where people can get to position of power, my name is Sijo Ade. God bless you.